These 8 overpowered setups in the San Francisco 49ers playbook will have you lighting up the scoreboard and winning more games, dominating on offense. The formation we'll be running is tight Y off. This formation is a compressed set with 2 receivers on one side along with a tight end, wide receiver, and running back on the other. But the unique feature we'll be using in this formation is the auto motion plays. When you call an auto motion play, the pre-snap setup starts out in a bunch strong look with 2 receivers, a tight end, and a running back all on the same side. With that, let's get into the setups using this unique formation. The plays we're breaking down are all universal defense beaters, meaning they beat any man or zone defense. But we also have specific coverage bombs, so if you know what the defense is running, you can exploit it with one-play touchdowns. For each play, you'll want the running back side on the far side of the field. With that, let's go over the one-play touchdown versus cover 3 and 4. The play is motion slot choice. The adjustments are to streak the tight end, post the middle receiver in the bunch look, and custom stem the route 2 notches up by pressing Y or triangle, then the receiver icon, then hold LB or L1 and flick the left stick up 2 times. Put a corner on the solo receiver and custom stem the corner all the way down. Then you can either leave the running back or block him for extra protection. Against cover 4, the streak will pull the deep inside quarters back and the corner will pull the outside quarter down, opening up a ton of space behind the deep zones for a deep throw to the post and a possible one-play touchdown. Against cover 3, the streak will pull the deep middle third back, similar to the cover 4 zone, and the corner will pull the deep outside third down, leaving wide open space for the post to get open for massive gains downfield. For the cover 2 bomb, stay in the play, motion slot choice. The adjustments are to streak the tight end, put a corner on the middle receiver, and leave everything else. Against cover 2, the streak will pull the deep half safety towards the middle of the field, and the running back will pull the cornerback on a flat zone down. This will open up space along the sideline, creating an easy laser to the corner for huge gains. Next, let's break down our base plays, starting with our go-to setup that you should call most of the time because of how difficult it is to defend no matter what the defense plays. Stay in the play, motion slot choice. The adjustments are to streak the middle receiver in the bunch look, drag the tight end, and put an in route on the solo receiver. Then custom stem the route 10 to 15 yards upfield. In the play, the first read is the drag. Against zone defense, you can usually hit the tight end underneath the linebackers for easy throws and yards. Against man defense, tight end drags create a ton of separation for a quick throw and potential yards after the catch. If the drag is guarded or taken away by the user, the second read is the return. Versus man defense, this route torches defenders, creating a ton of open space for a quick couple of yards. Versus zone defense, the user defender usually is occupied by the drag or backside in, which opens up a ton of space in the middle of the field to throw to the return. If the defense locks up the underneath routes, that's when you want to look at the third read, the backside in. If the defense plays sticky man coverage underneath, the in route usually does a great job beating man off his cut. So if he does, pass lead the ball in stride for a dot down the field. Against zone, if the linebackers and user guard the drag and return, the intermediate part of the field will open up with the linebackers biting down and the streak pulling the deep zones upfield. When this happens, hit the in route up the open window for a big time play. If nothing is open, you have the running back as a check down option. For the second setup, we'll remain in the play, motion slot choice. The adjustments are to streak the solo receiver, drag the tight end, then post the middle receiver in the bunch setup and custom stem the route between 1 to 5 yards. Similar to our go-to setup, the reads go from low to high. So at the snap, against man or zone, if the underneath routes have open windows to throw in, hit them for easy yards. If the underneath is guarded, take a look at the post. Against zone defense, if the underneath routes pull the mid zones low and the streak pulls the deep zones up, the post will be wide open down the field for an easy dot. Against man defense, the post does a decent job of creating separation, giving us the ability to hit the receiver in stride for huge yards after the catch. The next play we'll go over is motion Y corner, and the adjustments are to streak the outside receiver, custom stem the tight end corner down between 1 to 5 yards, and post a solo receiver. When you press the hike button, the middle receiver will run an auto motioned return route, which is the first read. Against man defense, this puts the defender in a tough position to play tight coverage, leading to easy throws to the return route. Versus zone, if the linebackers do not bite down to guard the return, you'll have an easy throw underneath to pick up some yards. Your second read is the tight end corner. Versus man, tight tight end corners fry defenders. Just be sure to pass lead the ball to the tight end in stride to prevent any underthrown interceptions. Versus zone, the running back will pull any flat zones down and the streak will pull the deep zones back, creating open space for a pass lead down and away to the tight end corner for a quick and easy laser. The next read is the backside post, and versus man, the post can create separation deep downfield for massive yards, but versus zone, the streak will pull the deep zones back, giving you an option to make a deep throw by pass leading down and away from the deep zones, avoiding any pass disruptions for an enormous gain. If all the routes are defended, you have the running back as a safety option. In the next setup, we'll remain in the play motion Y corner, and for these adjustments, put the outside receiver on a streak and put the solo receiver on a drag. As you press the hike button, pay attention to the drag as your first read. When the ball is snapped and the defense is in a zone, read if there's open space underneath. If there is, hit the drag for easy yards. Versus man, drags are reliable for creating separation, so if he does, hit him in stride for a good gain. The next read is the auto motion return. If the user or other linebackers are occupied by the drag, this will open up space for the trailing return route for a quick throw and yards after the catch. Against man, the user will usually run with the drag, creating a ton of space in the short middle of the field for an easy play. The third read is the corner, and once again versus zone, the running back and streak will pull the defenders away from the intermediate parts of the field, creating easy throws to the corner route on the sidelines. And versus man defense, the tight end corner is a reliable route to consistently hit for big gains down the field. Lastly, hit the running back as a checkdown option if there's nobody else open. The next play we'll break down is motion mesh spot. The only adjustment is to post the outside receiver in the bunch look. When you press hike, the middle receiver will motion over to run the unique fade route, then as the ball is snapped, your first reads are the drag routes. Versus man defense, read what drag creates the most separation and throw it to them for easy yards. Versus zone, if there's open space, hit one of the drags for easy yards. If the drags are defended, your next read is the post. Versus man, the post will create separation for a throw and catch down the field, but against zone, the fade route will pull the deep zones back, helping create an open window for the post by pass leading the ball down and away from the defenders for a big chunk of yards. The last read is the wheel, which in this setup is mostly useful versus man because at the snap, if the defense is in man coverage with no deep safety on the side of the wheel will torch his man defender for an easy pass over the defender's heads for a possible one-play touchdown. In the next setup, we'll remain in the play motion mesh spot. The adjustments are to streak the solo receiver, put a post on the middle receiver, and custom stem it between 1 to 5 yards. Then, flat the outside receiver. At the snap, the first read is the drag. And versus zone, if there's open space underneath, hit him for an easy pitch and catch. Versus man, the drag will create a ton of separation for another easy throw. The second read is the wheel route, which could beat man coverage over the top for huge plays, but against zone, the outside receiver on a flat will pull the flat zones towards the sidelines, while the drag and post pull the mid zones towards the middle of the field. This will open up a window to hit the wheel route quickly for an easy dot and yards. The third read is the flat. If there's no flat zones, hit the flat for a quick gain. The fourth read is the post, and this route gets open versus man, but against zone, the streak will pull any deep zones back, which will create an open window to throw to the post for a good play downfield. Those base setups will help you move the ball down the field with ease, but once you get in the red zone, you'll need a go-to red zone setup that will get you in the end zone for a definite 6 points. For the red zone setup, we'll be in the play motion mesh spot. The adjustments are to put the solo receiver on a hitch and custom stem him all the way down. Slant the tight end, put the middle receiver on an in, and custom stem him towards the end of the end zone. Then flat the outside receiver. It's important to note that this setup works best between the 5 and 15 yard line due to route spacing. In the play, your first read is the flat. If the defense doesn't have a flat zone on the field, hit the flat every time and try to get into the end zone after the catch. The second read is the wheel. If the flat pulls any flat zones towards the sidelines and an open window opens up for the wheel, hit the wheel quickly for potential touchdowns. Your third read is the slant. If the hitch pulls the zones away from the sidelines, you can throw the ball to the slant with a pass lead towards the sidelines for a huge tutty. The last read is the in route. If you read there's an open pocket deep in the end zone, hit the open window for a huge laser to the in route. And for the run game, utilizing jet touch pass, 0-1 trap, inside zone, and read option are all good enough to get you some yards on the ground. And guys, if you want to become an even more dominant Madden player, take a look at this video where I go over 100 Madden tips to win more games. Thank you guys for watching. watching, and I'll see you next time.